mile?
Actually, we're going to talk about the beginning of the marathon.
Okay.
Believe it or not, it started in 1979 here in Kansas City.
And since then, there have been a lot of changes, including a brief hiatus. And Cynthia Newsome gives us a look at the history of the Kansas City Marathon.
The Kansas City Marathon, now sponsored by Waddell & Reed, is one of the fastest-growing marathons in the country, with one of the most beautiful courses.
Shaded, tree-lined Ward Parkway. We go through Waldo. We go through Brookside. We go down to 18th and Vine.
It's a course with peaks and valleys and some flat sections, much like its history. And by the way, it was not always called the Kansas City Marathon.
It started in 1979 as the Macy's Marathon, and Macy's was the title sponsor for 3 years.
In the 1960s and 70s, most of the runners in Kansas City and at marathons everywhere were men. Very few women participated. In fact, in some races, women were not allowed to run. But times changed, and so did the rules and the runners.
The number of women participants now are higher than the male participants.
There have been 3 years that we did not have a Kansas City Marathon: 1983, 2000, and 2005. The Kansas City Track Club, Prime Health, Kansas City Power and Light, and Humana came to the rescue. But participation was small until the late 90s, when the Kansas City Sports Commission agreed to manage the Kansas City Marathon.
They started doing advertising, and we were able to get in national publications, and our numbers have just grown.
Another positive came from one of the biggest negatives in the history of the Kansas City Marathon. In 2006, these gates were supposed to be open so runners could loop around the Liberty Memorial. But the gates were closed, so the course was short, and the bad news went national.
The negative publicity actually helped us, because the next year our numbers were up, and they've been going up ever since.
Now, runners from 43 states and 9 countries are crossing the finish line at the Kansas City Marathon. Cynthia Newsome, NBC Action News.